Captain's log, subdate 200812.4. Engineering tells me that the holodeck will be complete in 8 weeks, the bridge within the next 4, and replicators in 2 days. Things are moving fast, so I've set course for the nearest underwater port, so we can pick up some last-minute items before our next assignment. Welcome everyone to the Halls of Injustice. Today we have quite the subject to go through. Instant demonetization. Yeah, it's okay, I expect it with these videos. For this, we need Keely Bunker. Keely Bunker was a 20-year-old barmaid who went out to the second city, Birmingham for those who don't know, to celebrate her 20th birthday. She went to the Snobs nightclub with her friends. One of her friends is called Wesley Streete. He will be the focus of the remainder of this video once we conclude the story. Unfortunately for Keely Bunker, she went missing. There was a text message indicating that Wesley Streete would walk her home, but she never got home, so her family organised a search. Around the same time, the police were also involved, and they had picked up Wesley Streete. We will get to that particular interaction in a moment, though. Keely Bunker's uncle Jason Brown found Keely Bunker in the Wigington Park stream at 9 p.m, face down. Earlier in that day, Wesley Streete had in fact gone to the home of Keely Bunker and had told Keely's parents that he had no idea where she was. This is important because that is the first lie. The police picked him up with his parents and took his phone because they were alerted to the text message. He became a suspect, but they did not allude to that until, when tracing where they went, he gave some rather interesting perspectives. Let's go with that, by telling them that he believed they were blaming him, being quoted as saying, "I just feel like I'm getting the blame. You said when I was at the house that all I needed to do was speak to the officer and then I could go and look for Keely, and then you take my phone off me." The police did reassure him that there are lots of people involved and that people higher up than the officers in the car were making the decisions. Investigators, inspectors even, did get suspicious because of the behaviour, which is why they acquired his phone. They were informed by detectives to obtain the phone. Initially he had given them the wrong code, but eventually they managed to get the correct one, and upon getting it they turned the phone off to conserve the battery. This is important because not long later Wesley Streete was arrested. Wesley Streete, upon being arrested, was interviewed, and I've written down here 3 of his top excuses for what happened. Number 1, she hit her head after a piggyback gone wrong. 2, she died during consensual sex. And 3, it wasn't me. In that same custody interview, Wesley Streete complained that he was embarrassed at being accused, saying it is scary but not scary in a way, along with telling a custody officer, who asked him how he was feeling, a bit sad. I wouldn't even say a bit sad, just say sad. With Mr. Streete's phone in custody, yes, his phone, they were able to obtain certain key information that coincided with CCTV footage. This not only placed them at Snobs together, which photos of them laughing together did in fact corroborate, but also the fact that Wesley Streete went to the Wigington Park stream 4 times to reconceal Keely Bunker's body. The earlier excuses aren't going to fly now, are they? Senior investigating officers couldn't believe the level of arrogance and audacity of Wesley Streete, with Detective Inspector Cheryl Hannon saying that she knew from the outset that he was involved and had something to do because of his character play of a martyr, and that he felt the police were blaming him despite knowing the efforts he had gone to in order to conceal Keely Bunker's body. Keely Bunker and Wesley Streete, by the way, were childhood friends. They'd been friends for an incredibly long time. They in fact worked at the very same place of the Drayton Manor theme park. So this is a very long history between 2 people, and considering the efforts Mr. Streete has gone to conceal things really doesn't do him any favours, does it? Prosecutor Jacob Holm QC said, He began to scream no, in reference to Jason Brown, the uncle, finding Keely Bunker face down, because he knew that he was looking at was the body of his niece. He had found Keely. It was lying face down in a pool fringed by small trees and bushes near the edge of an area of parkland in Tamworth. It had been hidden under a lattice work of branches taken from the surrounding vegetation. Her clothing was in disarray. Her tight black leggings and her underwear had been pulled down and were twisted over and around her trainers. It was obvious from the state of her body and the way it had been hidden that she had been unlawfully killed. It was obvious from the state of her clothing that she had been sexually assaulted. He, Wesley Streete, had taken Keely's life and had sexually assaulted her. She, a young woman who trusted him. A forensic pathologist said that there were 100 marks on Keely's body, including bruises to her face and scratches to her forehead. With a deep bruising beneath the skin of her face, her lower lip had been lacerated, and there were also hemorrhages to the lining of her mouth. The father of Keely Bunker, called Christopher Bunker, had not only pointed out that Wesley had visited the house, but also, when asked where his daughter was, Wesley Streete said no, and that he had walked her to a phone box and went home. That, by the way, is the fifth lie he told, because CCTV cameras picked them both walking through the park, and his DNA was also found on her body, and her makeup was found on his shirt. The court was told repeated lies by Wesley Streete, who only eventually bothered to say, "I was scared. I've never been in that position. I've just killed my mate. I put trees over her so you couldn't see her naked." The court was also informed how Wesley Streete was more interested in the police not looking through his Google searches than anything else, which seemed like a very odd deflection, but an understandable one. When guilty, you're trying to nervously think of a way out. So what was the sentence, you ask? Wesley Streete was sentenced to life. It took a jury 8 hours to come to the decision of guilty. He will be in jail for a minimum of 30 years, with Mr. Justice Baker saying she told Monique she would be safe at home, as you had offered to walk her back to her house. Unfortunately, nothing could have been further from truth. Which is a brutal sentence, but one that has been welcomed by the Crown Prosecution Service and me. He is 20 years old and will not see the outside of a prison until he's 50. But I'd like to make one minor alteration. Much like Suplex City, I'd like to rinse and then repeat. Not the crime, merely the sentence. IsoCube, 60 years. Good luck, I guess. Enjoy the next 30 years isolated. With what we've discussed today, I'd very much like to know what you think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. As a final thing, new video on Moisky live streaming on Twitch tonight, and tomorrow is an exhibition of stupid people. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, have a fantastic Wednesday, and thank you all for listening.